So, ladies and gentlemen, we are cancelling. We have cancelled our tea and networking break, so we're going through to the panel discussion, and then we will close off with Mr. Miles Kubega, who is the CEO and founder, as well as owner of Wheels. But for now, we're going to have our panel discussion. And joining me on the panel is, firstly, Happy Baleng, who is the founder of Kula Youth Network. Happy is the peer outreach coordinator for OUT, LGBTI, Wellbeing Organization. It's abbreviated here. I look forward to the explanation of what it truly is. And it's a peer education program. Happy has previously worked for Love Life as groundbreaker, playing a role of influencing behavior change in the community among adolescents and youth. So he is the co-founder of Kula Youth Network. Happy, can you please join me on stage? Can we please give him a round of applause? He's got a very interesting background representing the organization in the United Kingdom. He's also the One Young World Delegate, which was in 2015 for South Africa, and a lead SA hero in June. So he is the ambassador for a lot of youth-centered development programs. The next person that I'm truly honored as well to be inviting is Karabo, who is the MD of Barika Consulting. And wow, we have a female on our panel. Is Karabo here? Oh, Karabo is here. Hi, Karabo. We're looking for you. So Karabo has gained strong experience in human resources for the past 10 years. This is the industry that she has been anchored in. She started her own human capital consulting business at the age of 26, called Barika Consulting, with no client base. And she has grown and developed her own organization, which focuses on providing strategic solutions to champion transformation in corporate South Africa. This is very important. She featured on the CEO magazine under Future Leaders of Tomorrow, and she established the Karabo H Foundation, or the Karabo M Foundation rather, a foundation that is aimed at creating future leaders by empowering the disadvantaged youth in the community. And this is based in Franklin. Can you please welcome and give her a round of applause? The next person, and lastly, who will be joining us on the panel, is Masinwabe Fuma, who's the president at Inectus, based in the University of Johannesburg. Masinwabe is a social entrepreneur, development speaker, international youth leader, and an activist during his final year of his postgraduate degree in marketing management at the University of Johannesburg. He's currently the president of the university's Inectus team, where he aims to curb socio-economic disparities across the globe, tackling sustainable development goals, etc., etc. In 2015, Masinwabe was one of the 3 South Africans invited to represent South Africa at the University of Johannesburg at the World Youth Summit in Impal, India. In 2017, he represented South Africa at the inaugural African Economic Platform hosted by the AU in Port Louis, Mauritius. Why did you bring me a gift? Where he delivered a presentation to African heads of states, top business leaders and academics, showcasing the Izindaba Zokudla project. Masinwabe is interested in doing work in Africa that contributes to development and the upliftment of disadvantaged and marginalized communities. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Masinwabe Fuma. Ladies and gentlemen, for the lack of education, I didn't want to say Garabo's surname because I didn't want to mispronounce it. Thank you very much for being us welcome to the program. Can we give them a round of applause? So each of you will be given a minute or 2 just to introduce who you are, your organization, your background, and then we'll go straight into the questions. Can we start with you?
Thank you so much. My name is Masinwabe Fuma, and I'm a 23-year-old social entrepreneur. I hail from Queenstown in the Eastern Cape, and I'm currently looking for my postgraduate degree in marketing management at the University of Johannesburg. I'm also the president of Inactis at the University of Johannesburg, leading across all 4 UJ campuses, and also leading the biggest Inactis team in the world with more than 800 students. So Inactis is a global non-profit organization of students that aims to curb socio-economic disparities through the power of entrepreneurship. It's an organization that is available in all 26 universities in South Africa, all 22 universities and 4 technology universities, And then every year in July, we compete with each other at Sentin Convention Center through presenting the work that we did to top business leaders who then act as judges. Then the winners of the national competitions get to present the country at the World Cup. So as it stands, we are ranked #1 in South Africa. We are #2 in the African continent, second from the next team in Nigeria, and we are top 8 in the world. So the current projects that we're working on would look into, so last year the McKinsey & Company report issued a warning that says that in South Africa, if we want to reignite South Africa's progress, we need to focus on 5 bold opportunities: agro-processing, natural gas, service exports, infrastructure, and agriculture. So one of the projects that we're working on is focused on agriculture, which is Izindaba Zokudla.
Okay, fantastic. I think we'll expand on that as we go. Thank you so much for that. Can we give him a round of applause? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay, I'm happy.
Happy?
Yes, happy Paleg, yes. Okay, I'll start answering your first question when you said out. It's actually out, it's not an abbreviation.
Oh,
so that's the name of the
outing, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, but I'm now going to focus only on Kula Youth Network,
Sure.
which is fully on. So, Kula Youth Network, it's a community-based organization. We're actually based in Hammanskraal, north of Pretoria. And we're actually doing like few things, which is like youth advisory and referral to opportunities. And we also link young people to opportunities. Then again, we also have a program where we call it like a think tank session.
Okay.
Where, you know, as much as young people have business ideas,
Sure.
sometimes they need other people to add element to that idea, you know.
Arrowment.
Yeah, element.
Wow.
So you need to because sometimes you might have an idea, but like it can be an idea.
That's it.
It can end there as an idea.
Sure.
So those sessions, the think tank sessions, that's where we actually look into like, you know, building a concept, a very good concept that will be like, you know, a very good business concept.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karamo Haswani. I run a human capital consulting business, and the focus of our business is basically to champion transformation in corporate South Africa. I'm also a Regenesis Business School alumni board member and a Business Women's Association of South Africa board member. And I'm in my final year doing my MBA, so I'm happening to juggle all these things. But it's yeah, so I want it all. So basically I want it all, and I want to tick boxes in my life. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Sure. Kind of applause for both of them. Now, the first 2 questions I think we're going to be synchronized with your introduction, yours as well, and Masanwaba. I want to ask, why do you think it's important for the youth to focus on entrepreneurship?
I think, you know, one of the greatest problems that we have in South Africa, one of the greatest social ills is around youth unemployment.
Okay.
Now, when you become an entrepreneur, you become someone with a mindset of solving problems in communities.
Okay.
So I think it's very important to have a mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, because then you are able to solve problems in communities
Sure.
through the education that we are studying in class, but also you are able to create jobs. So for instance, if you look at the organization Inactives, our students, immediately once they graduate, we found that more than 80% of them, they start their own businesses and they employ other people instead of looking for jobs.
Okay.
So I think it's very important for young people to have an entrepreneurial mind setting and to start thinking entrepreneurially.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Happy. Inferred from Masanwaba's question, you know, I would often say to individuals that firstly, we've got concepts such as urbanization and modernization. The cities are becoming too concentrated. Why is it important for us to develop businesses, especially in our communities?
We have to create like our own
Okay.
township.
Expand on that.
And one thing I love about it is that entrepreneurship also encourages innovation.
Sure.
There's no way you could say I'm going to be an entrepreneur without thinking of something different.
Okay.
As much as like we've got people here with different businesses, for sure we don't want to duplicate things
Okay.
because the market might be very small.
Okay.
So one thing that is quite important about young people creating businesses in the community, because it is also going to help in terms of solving the very same social issues that we have in the community.
Okay, give me an example of some of these social issues that you as your organization or your network has addressed.
Like in Hammanskraal, we've got a serious problem of substance abuse.
Substance abuse.
And in most cases, when you interact with most young people asking them, why did you end up here? In most cases, they will tell you, I'm not employed, I'm not doing anything. So, hence I'm saying entrepreneurship goes the same line with innovation. So, young people just need to be innovative. And think tank is there, we add Aromet that progress.
I love the Aromet. I want to ask you later about the how part, but we'll go back to that. Karabo, you know, we focus on corporate South Africa.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think with, you know, the advocacy of businesses, we tend to kind of put under the carpet. Why do you think it's important as young people that we should be employed? You know, employment teaches you certain aspects about your business. So
Yeah.
why is it also important for us to encourage young people going back to the corporate space?
I mean, I'll tell you about myself. I started my journey in corporate. So I spent about 6 years in corporate before I could start my business.
Wow.
I could not start going to consulting without the knowledge. It's important that young people, especially aspiring entrepreneurs, to understand that the principles, the fundamental principles are taught in corporate.
Wow.
You cannot wake up and know what to do. You need to find it somewhere, and that place is in a corporate environment.
That's it. Wow, phenomenally well. Can you please give a round of applause for that? Each of you, I would like you to then mention what are the 3 key challenges that you think businesses should address today. And this doesn't have to be in the context of young people, but in the context of SMEs. What are the 3 key social economic challenges in South Africa that we need to address through our businesses? Anybody can start. Karabo?
Okay. Socioeconomic, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think first of all is access to education.
Okay.
That's number one. I mean, we emphasize on the importance of education, but the quality of the education that corporates need to focus on, because we all know there's a big discrepancy between private schooling and public schooling.
Okay.
And it's that gap that needs to be filled by corporate South Africa to invest more into funding these public schools, to better equipping the teachers that are teaching our children in the public schools environment. Because at the end of the day, after they've completed their 12 years, they need to then go into university or then eventually into corporate. But they can't be absorbed because of the background that they come from an education perspective.
Masimaba, just to infer on that, and I'm going to be very controversial on the statement because I love controversy. Do you think a degree today will make you money and will serve your purpose in your business?
Never.
Do you think carrying a master's or carrying a degree to your name is as important as it was? And do you think it's going to serve us as entrepreneurs going forward?
Education is very important.
Okay.
I think, you know, even if you're an entrepreneur, you need to be educated. Because sitting behind a desk, writing tests, studying, in some way that teaches you discipline.
Okay.
It teaches you how to become reliant in your dreams and never to give up in your dreams. And those characteristics, you link them up with becoming an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who is disciplined, someone who is reliant in their dreams, who never gives up. So for me, I think linking education to entrepreneurship is very important, because it also speaks to how you begin to manage your business as well, because now you're educated.
Okay.
Yeah.
It speaks to the management of the business. Thank you for that. Happy, what are the key things that you have noticed in our communities? Especially when it comes to mentality. You know, I realize that we need to go back to the rural areas, South Africans. I think we take going home for granted.
Yes.
There is so much at home that we can do to develop a lot of businesses and to develop entrepreneurs. Based on your network and your encounter with young people, what do you think is the one thing that young people need, especially to empower them in their businesses?
Okay, I'll focus on skills.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually there's actually a gap between, young people getting skills.
Sure.
And also the the mentality of guys is that like, but they think getting skills you need to go to a college.
Okay.
And well, some of the skills you can pass them without really,
That's it.
like for instance, late last year I started buying cameras.
Okay.
And young people like interesting things.
Yes.
And I can tell you, I now have like more than 10 young people who are learning photography.
Wow.
And the skill that is like, you just give them a camera, take pictures. And most of them, they take like very nice pictures. So
Sure.
we also need to retrocede that skills quality.
Yes. That it's not formal.
Yeah.
But it can also be informal.
Exactly.
Okay.
And most of them, they now want to go professional.
Wow.
Which is something started like with a simple camera, take a camera, take a picture.
Sure.
And then they saw it like, but skill is there. So they can continue.
Absolutely. One of the important quotes that I usually speak about is education is the ability to master what you're called to influence. So any area of influence, you've got to master it. Whether it's reading a newspaper, reading articles, joining such networks, these are important. We need to stop stressing young people. Sometimes you are not born with the brain to, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's very difficult, and this is what socialization does. So thank you very much. I'm now going to open the questions to the floor before our panelists give their closing remarks. Are there any questions on the floor for our panelists? Okay, one. Anybody else? Can't be one. This is for free. You didn't pay thousands of rands for free. So you better ask these questions. Free advice. Thank you. Two. Oh, now talk about the ticket you want to appeal. I'm going to start using that line. 1, 2, okay, anybody else? Okay, let's take 2 for now. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Seeing that on the panel we have academics, I think that our system of education is designed for us to get a piece of paper. And that piece of paper doesn't give you the ability to do the application part.
Sure.
How do you then change the mindset of the people who are attending, especially corporate? Because corporate, they want the application of the knowledge learned, not what's on the paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Was there a comment? Or it's a question?
It's actually directed to corporate, because corporate, they're saying that in order for you to be employed, you need to have, let's say, a degree.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Karamo, can you handle that?
Unfortunately, those are the challenges that corporate South Africa brings about. If they have certain rules, it's a box. That's why I always say someone that's working at a corporate environment is working in it's a system.
Okay.
So the system dictates that a person needs to meet certain criteria. That's why people like us then stepped out of the system to create our own businesses so that we can do things that are not out of the box. So I can employ someone that does not have any qualification but has the talent because I'm doing things out of the box. Whereas the system, which is the corporate environment, does not have the room to be innovative.
Okay. Thank you very much. The last question. Please prepare your text.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Suna Namane from Namane Interiors. What I wanted to ask the panel, because I come from a township in Duduza. Duduza is basically, it's one of those small towns. You have a lot of youth that are on drugs. They don't have sense of purpose basically.
Sure.
So what I wanted to ask to the panel, and being people that are actually working in that space of youth development, if somebody like myself, for instance, wanted to start something, would they be aware that any of your organizations would be willing to help and or give assistance of some sort into getting something like that on track?
Thank you very much, Nikki. And
Okay.
you want to answer that?
I'll answer that. So our organization, which is Unitis, is focused on assisting struggling entrepreneurs and cooperatives. So we assist struggling entrepreneurs with branding packages free of charge. You need marketing, we'll assist with the marketing, consultancy free of charge. And then all the work that we do for us, how we benefit is that we get to present that work at the national competitions when we're competing with other Unitis SA teams.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we'd be more than willing to assist you.
All right. Can we be happy and then happy?
All right, we Yeah, we could also help in terms of like starting, like getting the youth to participate, and it also takes the community to also support youth initiatives, because sometimes you find young people in communities having such programs in place, but they get to die along the way because support, people are not in the townships but all big cities and all that, so we need to be there. It starts with us.
Just to answer you, I started my foundation without any funding, without any support. So it's not that difficult. You just need to use your networks, the people that you have around you. It can be 2, 3 of you, and then you start something and you use the power of social media to then create people that will come in and contribute and donate, even if it's their time. But knocking on people's doors for sponsorships and funding, you won't start anything. You need to start it with whatever you have, and then eventually it will bring forward that sponsorship.
Thank you so much. Masomabe, closing remarks in 10 seconds?
10 seconds, wow.
No.
I just want to close, but also to respond to what the gentleman was saying, around how the education is just giving you theory on the paper and that's it. So our organization is looking into coming up with workable solutions around how we begin to give you the qualification and the skill as well. So currently we are engaging the Department of Higher Education and Basic Education as well to say how we begin to get entrepreneurship to be a curriculum in South Africa, not only in high schools, but in tertiary as well. Now, in high schools, this would work in a way that says they have a subject that's called life orientation. So we have entrepreneurship as part and parcel of life orientation, as one of the components of life orientation. And then in tertiary, we introduced Inactis as a service learning project. So if you're studying entrepreneurship, you do Inactis as your practicals. And then once you graduate, you have your qualification this side, and then you have the theory this side. Those are through Inactis.
Thank you so much. Where can they reach you?
I'm on Facebook, which is Emmanuel Masono Abefuma. Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is @Fuma_E.
Okay, thank you so much. Happy closing remarks?
All right. Okay, one simple thing. Let's involve young people. Maybe we should also stop telling them what to do. Let's start involving them. As much as we have made it in our respective businesses, let's make sure that we pass the knowledge to them.
Fantastic. Where can we find you?
Facebook, Happy.
Okay, thank you very much. Karabo?
Entrepreneurship, especially around the youth, is a big answer to a lot of problems this country is facing. And I believe there needs to be more focus that is given to the youth from high school stage to introduce them to this thing called entrepreneurship, where we need to instill that individuals need to have a job creation perspective and not job seeking perspective. So that is something that we as individuals, especially as entrepreneurs, we need to go out there and sell this entrepreneurship and show them that it actually does work. It's not something that they see on TV, that they see the Bill Gates and that, but it can happen amongst young black people like themselves.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Happy Bilam, Karabo Mohaswani, and Mosonwaba Fuma. Can you please give them a round of applause?